Are you interested in that, Matt?
Sponsors, yeah, absolutely. I think you just got to look at any sort of fitness sponsors, and you say you'd be targeting the same people, Redcon One and all that sort of thing. Yeah, but yeah, we've been pushing for that, creating sponsored packages, different levels of different support that they can jump in and be involved with us. Yeah, so I mean that's where you can really rise to the next levels if you've got the ability to cover all your costs straight off the bat, and then the extra money that you are getting in, it's like, okay, well, now we can pay the athletes more. Now we can bring guys in from around the world. Now we can book them accommodation. Now we can, you're able to do those things that you want to do. And sponsors just make a massive difference. I remember with the UFC and what Neil was talking about earlier with Arm Wars, that they allowed the athlete to wear their own sponsored stuff and get paid for that. A lot of the fighters in the UFC were making more money from their sponsors than they were from getting paid to fight in the organization, even if they won their fight. Particularly, there was a guy, Brendan Schaub, who was making $110,000 per fight from sponsors, and his contract was about $40,000 if he won, $40,000 to show up, $40,000 extra if he won. And then they changed the model because the UFC looked at that and they said, well, these guys are getting all this money from, and we're not getting a part of that. And they changed it so that if a company wanted to sponsor an athlete, they had to pay the UFC $10,000. Then they could pay the athlete whatever they wanted to pay him. That went for about 2 years, and I think they were not super happy with some of the sponsors that were getting on the shorts, particularly on the arse of the shorts. There was a Condom Depot for a lot of fighters, which I don't know, they probably weren't too happy with that one. But they ended up creating their own uniform to their own detriment, I feel, because it made everything really very bland. They did a deal with Reebok. And now they sell fighter kits, which is clothes, it's just apparel, but it's all very similar. There's not much difference between each fighter. And I think the only difference really is that the champion wears black, the rest wear like the same color, and it's just the name that's different. Their sales have plummeted through the floor with that. And the athletes all complaining, saying, hey, I was getting $100,000 from my sponsors. Now they brought in a sponsorship money deal sort of thing, you depending on your pay-per-view or depending on your percentage, it was like 5% or something, and they went from like 100,000 to like 7,000 or 8,000 with this Reebok deal. I think they really damaged the brand doing that, because it was so identifiable to have somebody come out with their own clothing brand, like you'd see, say, Rich Franklin, he always fought in pink shorts, or Anderson Silva always had like these yellow bees on his thing, and it was very clear, like that's who that person is. And when you bought their apparel, it was like it's personalized. And now it's all the same. I really don't like it. Our aspirations are to go global, and we're very much copying the UFC model of being able to take Ryan, Dave, and me, put us somewhere in the world, and we'll put on an event. We'll get all the local fighters. We'll put on an amazing event. We know how to do the production. We know how to promote the event, market it, and find the best people in that area, rather than having to sort of fly people, like having a base of let's say Adelaide, and we've got to fly everyone here, and it becomes detrimental because people look at it and go, I've got to fly 3 days to get there. I don't want to do that. Whereas we can go to them and we can put on amazing events around the world anywhere we choose to. And, we know how to do our side of things, which allows us to turn up and put on the best event that we possibly can. I was just saying, I'd love to see more people promoting themselves in the arm wrestling world. And it surprises me that people don't. And people don't want to talk on camera, or they don't want to do that sort of thing. You don't have to. You can just put some highlights up, cut something together. There's so many free programs out there, and YouTube's free to do. Start putting something together, and then you've got evidence that, hey, I'm somebody. And if you actually go and compete, film it, get somebody to film it for you, and then it's like build a journey, and not only for yourself to look back at it and say, oh, well, these are the things that I did, but other people will start getting invested in it as well. Build a fan base. People love arm wrestling. They would love to see you do it. And so many people are out there that are phenomenal arm wrestlers. You just never hear of them.